Hello, welcome to a brand new Unsourced. We're here back live again with my fantastic guest here, Brian Ron Johnson, to talk about Wicked Part 2, Wicked for Good, the second half of the musical. We talked about the first half, like, what was it, about a year ago? And
Yeah.
things have not improved. Uh, so I thought um, let's just recap first. If you could, go over what you feel, um, what your general thoughts are on both Wicked as like the franchise, but also, your thoughts on the first one before you get into the second one.
All right. Um, well, I like the first book. I really love. The second book, really love. Third book, that's Lion Among Men, right? Yeah, that
Yep.
that one's that's the Feast for Crows. So, so it's a good setup for the next book, which is the real treat. It ends on a pretty high note, so that's good at least. Um, yeah, so I really like the second book. Probably my favorite, Son of a Witch, and the musical. I've never seen the musical, but if it's anything like the movie, I'm probably not a fan. I know it is, so yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
All right. No, I completely agree. So, I love the books. I think the weakest one of all the ones I've read so far, is definitely The Lion Among Men. It just there's lots of spinning plates, and that's what that's for. And it's all right. And the
Right.
musical, I never seen the musical. I never had any interest in it. But then, they made a movie. It just kept on popping up. Became this whole culture. Moon. I saw the first half, the first one, Wicked Part One. Awful. If I had known that the musical was that bad compared to the book, I would have I would have been up in arms well before then. I would have been up in arms well before then. So yeah, no, yeah, I thought maybe this one would be better because it's gonna be more of its own contained thing, and I was wrong. I was really wrong.
Yeah, I was hoping the Dune Part Two effect would take place here,
Yeah,
and it didn't.
just something that actually gets it more in line that you're able to understand. Like, okay, it got all of that out of the way. Um, Kind of pull back a bit,
hmm
but no.
I it is insane how like you have 2 hours to work with, and it still feels rushed. In some part, like the most important parts that should not feel rushed do feel rushed, and it drags in places that it shouldn't drag in. There are so many scenes that are unnecessary. It's like, what are we doing here? Let's get to the point.
And like, I feel like this is it's a consequence of two different kinds of things, you know? Like, one, you're right, like it feels rushed, which is insane. But I think that's partly because there's this trend in like these multi-part movies where like there's like part one, part two, where like one of them gets a lot more care, you know? Like, oh, we'll worry about the other one later. Let's get this one right. Like, no, you should get both of them right, you know? You should care about both of them equally. And For Good feels a lot like the remaining leftovers of stuff, and like that is and actually a little bit more than 2 hours. That's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, it's 2 hours, 17 minutes. Parts of it, I really felt it, and then parts flew by in a bad way. Where like when the ending started happening, I was like, wait, this is the ending? Okay. And something about that ending, by the way, was Dorothy just down in the basement listening to these two nitwits sing? Like, oh,
Like it,
I,
but like no, as its own thing, I have to say it was kind of shocking that a lot of stuff that they set up over the course of both movies, they don't actually care about exploring. Like, oh, we're gonna get um, these big backstories to the Tin Men and to the Scarecrow, but they don't matter because we don't see them. We don't see the impact of what these changes mean. We just know they happened, but they don't have any payoff or closure. It's ridiculous.
if you did not know the story beforehand, like the musical, you would not know that scene where Furo turns into a scarecrow is that. I thought like um that was him dying. I'm like, oh, they're actually going to kill him. And then I forgot. I was like, oh, right. No, no, no. He turns into the scarecrow. That's, oh, this. And then he shows up at the very end. There was no seeing him as a scarecrow. I like, what did it mean when she got that? There was no time to sit with that. There was no time at all. It seemed like he disappeared completely. And that's not. He's not the worst. He's not the character that was done the dirtiest. The dirtiest was Bach.
No, in many ways. Okay,
Hmm.
but like it's like, what does that mean? Like, if you were like, oh, you don't have to say anything about Dorothy because you already have the Wizard of Oz. You don't need to know anything about what her journey was like. But you actually do because these aren't those characters. That's the main difference to like kind of you know jump forward a little bit. Is that in Wicked, right? The entire Wizard of Oz story that Dorothy goes on isn't touched at all, really. You
It's
know,
not. It
it's
was really like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing.
yeah, no, but even that. I don't mean like touched in that way. I mean like it wasn't like altered. Like Dorothy is like the nice little girl, goes on an adventure, meets some friends, and like that's it. Like that's it. They keep that intact. So you don't really need to see as much of that in the book because you do know what happens in that
Oh
segment.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
Well,
changed. And here, like you have okay, you have like a rampaging weirdo incel chud, and like some guy who's like a playboy and like the leader of the guard who's now a scarecrow and like this piece of shit lion, like what does that mean? Like how does that impact that story? I guess we'll never
honest,
know. We'll never
honestly,
know.
you could make a whole movie just on that. Honestly, but since it's a musical and they got to put in all the songs from the musical, you can't. And honestly, I feel like it's a missed opportunity if the movie was better. But anything that makes the movie shorter, I guess. Um, wasn't the last movie almost 3 hours?
Yeah, these are both over 2 hours. I think the last one was definitely longer, which is shocking to me because like just why isn't this the longer one where we can actually sit with stuff more, man? Like there's like they bring up so much like character beat, but it's not an arc. It's more like pinpoints. Like oh, we gotta make sure we hit this scene. But, like there's no development. There's no like growth. It just happens. Things just happen.
There, you were right about the book because Dorothy's story is virtually unchanged. The Scarecrow is not related to anybody in the main story. The Tin Man is not related to anybody in this story. It was there's a cute moment at the beginning of the movie where you see the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and all that discussing Elphaba and discussing about who she is because Elphaba's spying on them, and they're the same like basically as they were in the original Oz book, and you get the idea. It's like okay, well, I mean that's Dorothy, that's the Scarecrow, that's them, but in here. No, it's fucking Bach. It's one of the main characters from the story, and he shows up. He gets turned into he shows up. He's dicking around with Nessa Rose very coldly, I might add. Like the minute Nessa Rose gets to float, which is funny because it's the same adaptational quirk as the Baron from the book is, it's supposed to help him walk, not float.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah. I mean, like I feel like that was more of a matter of taste. Okay, I'll say it's a tasteful change because the actress really can walk, so I can understand
uh,
that.
yeah, you know what? Never mind. Yeah, I get it then. Yeah, because it would be kind of
Tasteful.
off. Yeah, but they don't really do anything with that.
No,
She
they
doesn't.
don't.
I mean, she's not even float. You can float now. Why are you like rolling
Why
around in
would
that
you? Yeah,
wheelchair in the storm?
why was she? It's ridiculous.
Anyway,
Um,
you could have actually done a reference to the movie where she's like going up to the house, like in the original like Wizard of Oz movie. The witch that you see floating around the house was the Wicked Witch of the East.
yeah,
Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, and then Bach gets turned into a Tin Man. And I thought he was going to kill Nessa Rose for a minute there. I was like, oh Jesus. And he did, and he just gets all pissy. And shouldn't he know Elphaba? By the way, he acts like Elphaba is such a monster now. I mean, you knew her. Do you really feel this? He is such a character, assassinated character in this because he's turned into a jerk, an incel who just wants to bang Glinda. And when he doesn't get that, he turns bitter and angry, and he's very unpleasant to be around and to see on screen. And he disappears halfway through the movie. We don't get a resolve for that. Hopefully, they took him off screen and threw his ass into a trash compactor.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what I mean. Is that like is that when you make these changes, like what do they mean to the story? Because yeah, you spent like a a movie and a half on these backstories, but them being those characters doesn't mean anything to the story or to the characters because they don't get any resolution. We don't see how that influenced anything. It's ridiculous.
Um, I want to talk about the editing
Yeah,
because a
sure.
lot of the musical numbers were edited like music videos. They were so
Oh,
odd,
100%.
and there was a scene. There was a fight scene, an embarrassing fight scene, totally tasteless because it involved Glinda and uh, Elphaba having what I can only describe as a small cat fight, and it was bad, like bad edited, and it seems so off tone and tasteless because poor Nessa Rose is under that house back there, moldering, while their sister's having this cat fight, and I'm. I'm just like, what am I supposed to feel right now? First of all, she grieved her sister for like 5 seconds. It's like
True.
her grief over her sister was a driving force in like the last bit of the book. Like, I'm just baffled. Also, weird thing is that in that scene at the beginning when Dorothy is being shoved off on her adventure, there is like 5 munchkins there. I'm like, isn't this a whole town? That was so weird. And everything looks pristine except for that house. Wasn't there just a tornado? There's still laundry hanging on the hamper. This is so odd.
It is insanely odd. You're right.
I want to talk about a few things that I begrudgingly liked.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, the scenes with the wizard looked good. I like the environment with the robotic eyes just hanging around.
Oh, that
And
set design. I don't think it's like has always been on point with this. Like that, like it's fun. It's whimsical. You know.
yeah, I liked it. Just surface level, liked it. I did kind of like his song. I liked his character. They didn't really do anything with it, but I mean, like there was potential there because one gripe that I had about the book is that the wizard was so enigmatic that it's kind of hard to get a grasp on what his motivation, what he really wants, what his character is. And so, I mean, I kind of like that they try to give him a little more of a character, but I mean, didn't go anywhere, like you said. Also, I liked the song "No Place." Well, there's no place like home. I did like that, and again, like the every caveat, it went nowhere because the animals get talked down by Burr, and then they just leave Oz, and I'm like. So that was pointless. The song was fucking pointless. It didn't inspire anybody. It didn't mean anything. So it's a nice song, but oh well.
100%. And I really, I really don't know either, man. It is it's really ridiculous. I don't know. Okay, so a couple of things. Um, yeah, no, the editing is weird because I don't think they understand. They don't think they really understood like how to handle flashbacks or framing devices because it kept on doing this weird jutting back and forth that didn't feel natural. It felt like they ran out of footage more than like that they actually had something interesting to go on. Like when they go back to like the framing device and he's gonna re-roll his back, like it just kind of felt like not. It didn't feel seamless. Like, come on, you had like so many years to get this to feel competent, and like no, like it felt very jarring. It felt very sudden. Like I didn't really like that as well. And just get the elephant in the room. Um, it's good God, man. Like again, everything that they keep the continuing thing where everything Alphabet does is like a mistake. Everything that happens there is like a mistake, a misunderstanding. Again,
Hmm.
like really, like why the fuck is the Tin Man um like that? Like oh, I gotta take my revenge on Alphaba. Why? It was clearly her sister that did it to you. Who threatened to
Right?
kill you. Like it's so dumb. It's so stupid. And like I'm not saying that Doc was a great character in the musical either. Part one, I like Bach is such a stupid character conceptually to me in the musical, because it's like, oh, what if we made one of these characters like turn out to be the Tin Man, and like let's pick this character. But like one again, like I mentioned, I think the last time we talked about this, Bach is already a character from the original Wizard of Oz. He's the mayor of Munchkinland. All right.
Hmm.
Um, so like one, you don't have to create a character. He's gonna become. He is a character that becomes something. You know, that's one. Two, right? Like the Tin Man is already a character. So when like my name is Bach Woodman, like oh well, why the Tin Man has a last name already? Okay,
Yeah,
why not just call him Bach Chopper or something, man? It's
that's what I was
ridiculous.
like.
It's so lazy. It's lazy.
My dyslexia actually made the book version more clever than it actually was. Well, I mean, he's a woodman, so Chopper. But I thought his last name was Copper for the longest time. I'm like, Tin Man, Copper.
Yeah,
That's kind of
that,
funny. Ah,
that's
whatever.
not funny.
It's still a good you know pun. Um, what? Oh yeah, uh, Nessa Rose. I was so annoyed with how they completely removed the religious aspect of her character, and the same thing with her father. This uh God damn it, what was his name? Something the Godly. Uh, what was their
Rex,
father's name?
Rex.
Frex. Yeah, Frex the Godly. And first of all, no, that bear character annoyed me
I can't
because
believe she
I'm
came back. I can't believe she came back. It's insane.
because I'm like, what is the point of that? Why? Where were you in the first movie? First of all, and second of all, like, you'll never be nanny. You'll
Uh,
never be nanny. Hashtag not my nanny. Um, uh, I I was so annoyed that they completely removed the religious aspect of her character, and they removed by how like almost respected she was, and how powerful she was. I mean, because people came to her for problems, to solve their problems, and she was magical. She's the one who enchanted the axe to chop away the woodsman's arms,
yeah,
get him turned into the Tin Man,
like
and they got rid of that. No, they need Elphaba, the special one with all the magic powers, to help her, and that just drove me nuts.
it really is ridiculous. Like, I totally agree. Like, I really don't understand like these. Again, it takes away the agency of these characters to such a degree that it makes them so much more simplistic, so much more naive and just generic and uninteresting. Like they don't have these foibles, they don't have these flaws. Everything's a mistake, everything's misunderstanding, everything. Oh no, like I didn't know, but like they don't have any personality anymore. Like oh like I honestly, what is it? What makes Elphaba stand out as a character that from amongst any other? I'm not like any other girl, like kind of like self-insert fiction character. It's really like just so disappointing. Because Elphaba really is like a really interesting character in the novels, and we
Her
don't get
de-
any of that here.
her defining flaw as a character in the novel is that she's very self-centered.
Mhm.
Um, she wants to be the special one, the one that solves everything. Um, and she's very insecure, even though there's really no reason to be insecure. Everybody generally accepts her. Um, yeah, I made that joke that she's essentially that meme where it's like they all hated me, and like they're like, hey, yeah, you want to come over first, hang out. And there was that scene where she tries to admit to the murder of Madame Morrible, and everybody's like, yeah, you want to hang out, drink, and yeah, tell us all about this murder, Alphaba. Uh,
Like
it, it,
they don't give a fuck. They really don't.
it's a very dry sense of humor in the novel, and there's none of that in the musical or in the movie. And I wanted to talk about Croak and Tibbet
Oh,
because
yeah.
yeah, because they weren't in the movie, but but Averick was.
Oh my god.
Remember in Nessa Rosa? Yeah, give us a clock
That
tick,
was,
Averick, and I was
that
like,
was
oh fuck you.
that was so corny. I can't believe worse than nothing. Worse
I
than nothing, man.
I almost audibly said "fuck off" in the movie theater. I was like, "Oh, I had to bite my tongue."
I mean, 'cause, like, it's so clear to me that when people who like adapted this from the novel, they're like they like oh my, I'm not gonna say that Averick and Elphaba didn't have some kind of something's got to give type back and forth here. I'm not I think there was definitely an inkling of that between them, but it definitely screams to me. Seems like very obvious that people adapting this book to the musical were like, well, Averick seems like he's that bad boy that you can't change, but you want to, So it's basically like, well, we're gonna call Averick Fierro, and it's like we're gonna name Averick, just put it anywhere. Because Fierro really is Averick in all but name. And to the point where like, why even keep it Fierro? Just make it Averick. I can understand Averick like becoming like the Scarecrow, and be like, oh, he's ironic because he's a dumbass motherfucker. That's
Yeah,
Averick's
he's
whole,
brainless.
yeah, that's Averick's whole thing in the musical. So that's why like I mean in the book, it's Averick's whole thing in the book. So it seems really. It's lazy. I feel like it's just taking an easy route with a couple of things without thinking things through. That would make just as much sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You said, even then, you could make Fiero work if you changed his whole demeanor into a coping mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. Simple things, very simple, minor things that you wouldn't need to change the musical that much. But even if it wasn't just so that you can make it more like the book, you could at least do it to make it more interesting. Because like Piero disappears from the halfway through the movie, Blanc disappears halfway through the movie. What are we left with other than like nothing? They don't do anything to fill out this time. They really don't.
We're left with Glenda and her nothing arc because first of all, what is it with her? I don't know what she's thinking half the time. Does she not like the wizard? Does she like the wizard? Does she have? She doesn't seem to have any opinion about
Who
any fucking thing ever.
is it, Glinda or Alphabet? Because you can describing either of them.
Yeah, really, really. Well, Glenda seems pretty against the wizard all the time. That's pretty much her driving motivation. But
Glinda, you mean?
Glenda is totally directionless.
Oh, like it's ridiculous because like they definitely it felt like it felt like they were inspired by Fantastic Beasts a little bit because um because tell me why they have these two fantasy kind of movies where like the blonde ditzy one becomes a fucking fascist for some reason. No, because it's so insane. I made a post about this too, where like in the book, yeah, Glinda wasn't a saint, she was very much you know, um, a passive influence or passive recipient in like the wizard's totalitarian regime. Like she wasn't a
Hmm.
saint or anything like that. But when back against the wall, she did the right thing. Meanwhile, you have Glinda in the musical and the movie here, where she gets like a front row seat to all the wizard's crimes. and all the insane,
Yeah.
ridiculous, awful things he's doing. He's like, oh, but look, I'm having a dream wedding. Like, come
And she's
on, man.
staring off into the wall or something. She doesn't seem to have, like, she's not paying attention to what the fuck's happening.
And like, I
That's what
truly
it seems like.
and I can't believe that people actually like Glinda in this. Like like oh to the point where like, oh man, Glinda and Alpha should have run off together. And like, you know what? That's I can understand why they did in the book because in the book series because they actually had like a good friendship and they actually liked each other. But I feel like if you had movie Glinda and like book Alphabet would be helping to string her up, Like yeah,
Hmm.
like she like this is just insane that she is like just a full-fledged fascist just because she gets all the perks. That's ridiculous, man.
She like it. I'm just baffled. I'm just choked with. I don't even like because they're, they're okay. They try to add like this thing where she didn't get like she feels like unspecial or something, which wasn't in the in the book from the beginning. She was academically motivated and she had a lot of lofty ambitions. All those ambitions disappeared after Alphaba left, and there was clearly some mind spell put on her by
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Madame Morrible. She was
yeah.
pretty much given conversion therapy through a spell, which was nasty. And I'm just like, and they and she became like very surface level, like just on the surface, a very shallow person. But deep down, she's not like that. From the beginning in the musical, she's like that. She's an airhead, and there's no arc. There just isn't. She doesn't seem like she's changed. I mean, like, oh, oh yeah, there was this thing I was thinking about. How the fuck did Glinda draw the conclusion from that green bottle that the wizard was Elphaba's father? I mean, just sees that green bottle, takes it to him, and says,
Because
"Oh, so you're her father." I'm like, "How do you know that?"
it's easy. Because it's easy. That's it. It's easy.
It's it is so, and like if she knew that, when the wizard's pounding back that drink in front of both of them, shouldn't Alpha be like, "Hey, where the fuck did you get that green bottle?"
Yeah, because they didn't think about it. They didn't do any of the
Then
footwork. Yeah.
yeah, she just knew off screen. First of all, isn't Alpha like a really big shithead for like not telling Glinda that she's still alive, and or that she had a plan to fake her death and just run off with Fiero? No, she goes the entire musical and movie thinking that both of them died, kind of because of her, and she doesn't get to know let in on that plan. No, and at the end she says, "Oh, she can never know why." Why? You don't give up because so on and so forth. You just say, "Oh, she can never know." I'm like, okay, fucking why?
I, I,
Just
re-
cause.
I
Just
really
cause.
don't. I really don't know either. It's and the whole point, like I don't understand the point of them getting together, her and Fiero at all, because like yeah, the entire movie, and they don't their romance makes no sense. It has never made any sense. And the entire point, the whole front piece of like their romantic scene together, their love scene. He's like, "You're so beautiful from a certain point of view." I'm like, that is, I don't know why she didn't just punch him in the throat. That's like the least romantic, least sexy, least
Dude,
complimentary thing
I,
you could
I
ever
I would
say.
be so pissed off.
That's what I understand. They keep making this musical like, oh, the green skin is a thing, but like animals talk. Why is it the green skin wouldn't be that much of a hindrance? That's the thing in the book too. We're like, yeah, the green skin is weird, but animals talk and people can do magic. Okay,
Yeah,
like oh, people are taking oh well, I guess that's they get past it because this is a ridiculous fantasy world, you know. But like this one,
yeah,
they keep making it a big thing. Like this is really like just boiling down to just her looks in a way that
Mm,
is ridiculous.
and I think it's a hang up for Alphaba in the book, but it's not really a hang up for anyone else. Like, I mean, I get like her. It stacks up. Everybody's shocked when they first see her, and then they just move on. But for her, it's like it's a constant. Everybody's going to, so I can understand it being a little annoying. Uh, but it really isn't that big a deal in the book. People move past it like really fast.
Yeah.
Um, the idea that Alphaba is made really central in in the musical is like she's the center of the universe. She is the bestest at magic, even though in the book she could barely read the
Yeah,
Grimoire
they make her into like a chosen one here. Like that's ridiculous, man.
because like in the book she's almost a non-entity in most people's lives, except for like the people closest to her. They care about her. They want her to be happy, and the wizard only cares about her so far as she's the green bitch with the Grimoire. He wants that shit,
Mm.
and when he finally gets something that she wants, he has some leverage to get that. But she goes completely cuckoo bananas. After a lifetime of really not accomplishing much, and just having like victory after victory after moment snatched away from her. She cannot get forgiveness. She cannot get some kind of like even a small victory with Madame Marble. She can't get anything, and she absolutely loses it. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And she probably would have been better if she had let Furo in on what she was doing. She probably would have been better off if she had let Bach in on what she was doing, giving him the research from Dr. Dillamon, but she didn't because she wanted to be the one. And she's very, and that's what led to her downfall. That's what led to her. It was her mistakes. It was her selfishness that led to her doom. I'm not saying it was all her fault, but I mean, she was a flawed character, and she's not in the musical at all.
No, like, again, they simplify, they dumb down, they make them more childlike. Like it's just so much more generic and flat. There's no tension. There's no real conflict. These characters are just figureheads, of like a really simplistic idea, and it's really just unentertaining, and let's just talk about one thing here as well. The timeline of things is so all over the place. Like okay, so like you begin the movie and like the little bit growth is just being like created, but then later on, and it doesn't seem like it's that long. Like you have Dorothy, and then like the little bit growth. So like, is it still being built? Like, or what's going on here? Because like in the novel, Gilbert Road was a thing. Sinelpa was like being born that they were building that shit.
Yeah. Um, just a second. All right, sorry. Anyway, yeah, the timeline seemed all over the place. Also, the locations seemed so packed together. Like Kamiko seemed like it was a mile away from Oz in like the third act, even though it's supposed to be pretty far away. Also, why does Kamiko look like it's covered in vines? It's like it hasn't been inhabited in decades, it looks like. I mean, they said that it was like a vacation home or something, but it's like, man, you don't keep that. I mean, you're supposed to be rich, aren't you?
Yeah, it's insane.
It it looks like a cool location out of out of context, but in context, it makes no sense. And that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. Some of the stuff looks cool out of context. I say some of it. I will say some of the costumes are over designed and obnoxious, including Elphaba's costume. I don't know what the hell she's wearing, but in the book, it was like very simple. It was a black like tunic that pretty much went down to her feet, and that was it. It just everything seems so loud and obnoxious. And I want to talk about those two side characters that keep cutting to for reaction shots. That gay Asian character and that
There's a Owen
one girl.
Yang. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Well, he is a gender swapped character in the book,
Yeah.
and which is odd
It's
because, yeah,
very
you
odd.
said,
Yeah.
yeah, why not just have it be Croak or Tibbet?
Yeah, like either one would have worked. Like it's so ridiculous because yeah, in the book, yeah, Glinda has like these two main like girlfriends, Fanny and Ken Ken. But there are two prominent gay characters in that book that are part of their whole friend group, and it could have been easily used for this, and they didn't.
Mm,
And like they just made like, oh well, we'll just make let's make this girl character into a guy. That's the same thing as using a gay character, so a gay actor can play a character in this movie, right? But that's weird. That's
it's
weird.
weird. It's weirdly offensive. I think. I don't know. Like if you feel the same way,
I feel like
but
it's very awkward to think about, and
like the more I think about it, the more annoyed I get. Also, just a nitpick. What's with all those weird fucking stupid words they use? Like you notice that too, like stupefied or stupendous, great, or this whole that all those little words made me pissed the fuck every time they popped up.
I don't mind that because it's very Aussie, but also it's very much like a very Forrest Whitaker thing, you know. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
I do like tick of the clock. I do think that was I like that term. Um, I will say, begrudgingly, I do think the movie in some ways uses the Oz setting a little more because it's the biggest gripe I have with the book is that he's not the author isn't very creative with the Oz setting.
No, no.
Um,
If you build more, if you're someone who loves the books, I gotta say Greg McGuire, he felt like 90% of the time he cared more about his own fantasy OC kind of setting.
mhm. Yeah, it really could have taken place anywhere. The more I think about it, and yeah, there were like dwarves and elves, but there were none of those in the books. They had like a cavalcade of crazy and creative creatures that were not in McGuire's books, which it's a nitpick and it's a missed opportunity. But that's just me.
100%. Let's see here. Okay. This movie is so boring. I know it's hardly anything to talk about with it, because there's nothing that goes on under the surface.
I
Like
do want to
it
talk.
happens. Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to talk about what I think my dream adaptation of the book would have looked like, and it's taken me a while to think, but I honestly do think you could fit a 3 hour runtime into
Oh,
the you could fit the book into a 3 hour runtime. I do.
100%.
And I think, when I think about the dry sense of humor, when I think about the creative imagery you could get from a movie adaptation, that takes place in Oz, I think Yorgos Lanthimos would have been a fantastic choice to direct
That's a bold
a
one.
an Oz because I could just I just imagine like everybody talk like Elphaba's very dry demeanor there. There's a lot of gallows humor. So I think that would have been interesting, more interesting than what we got. That's for sure.
100%.
Um, okay. I want to. There is since the movie has pretty much spunning in place. I want to talk about this detail that was in the book.
Go ahead.
Um, is there's a scene in which all of them are in a cafe and they're drinking, and Elphaba is encouraged to sing. And I didn't catch it the first time I read it, but this time I did catch it. It's heavily implied that what she is singing is somewhere over the rainbow.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
So that's pretty interesting because yeah, they were talking about it being a lullaby, and it's yeah. So I like that. That was a cute moment.
That's cute. And the thing is, right, like for a time where that takes place at the college, you don't get the sense that it was like an important part of their lives. It's like, yeah, she made Glinda, but then like they kind of skip over the entire college experience. When one of my favorite parts of the book, really on rereads, is that like it becomes kind of like the Breakfast Club, with her, Glinda, the caddy, friends, Average, Crope and Tibbet, like and Fiero. They're like the Breakfast Club. They get into like a bunch of these shenanigans. They feel like a real fleshed out friend group of like people you meet when you're at school, of random people you're kind of lumped together with at school. So it really felt kind of genuine in that way. And this one, like, they just skip over all of that. Like they again, it's spending just the wrong priorities on the wrong places. These movies are like long and they feel dragged out. I feel like it would be like less that way if they actually cared about portraying and depicting things are actually more character focused, because there's like a lot, there's like so much minimal character focus on this that it's it's kind of shocking. You tell me that like a 5 minute little denouement for the Scarecrow and the Tin Man going back with Dorothy would have broken the bank. Never mind.
Hmm.
Just some payoff, some closure, some emotional investment. Like, oh, it was like, oh my god, you see that look Bach gave Glinda? Who cares? Bach is barely a character. Now he's even less of a character.
Yeah, like I could imagine them having a pretty interesting conversation because maybe that could have been like the end of Bach's arc because he's pretty much like a Glinda hater. It's like, but he seems so far gone and up his own ass that I don't see what you could do. Honestly, there's an entire movie's worth of development there, and it's not given at all. And I don't. Man, this movie sucks so. Oh,
Yeah.
um, there, there was one thing I wanted to talk about is the ending, and I'm just like the overthrow of the wizard seems like it should be a very big deal, and it just isn't. It doesn't feel like it's a big deal. Like the only person that seems to give a shit is Madame Marble, and she's dealt with pretty easily. I I'm I'm honestly nothing in this movie feels like it's as big a deal as it should be, or because it seems so childish. Everybody reacts so childishly. Everybody the wizard is, the more I think about it, the wizard's kind of an airhead too. He doesn't seem to really be invested in him being the ruler of Oz. There was a scene in the book where he, is like, it's kind of desperate sounding, like to himself. Like he's like, no, I can't negotiate for the Grimmery. I do not negotiate. I am the ruler of Oz. Like he seems tired and worn out from this shtick. So that was something. It wasn't much. I wish there was more of it,
Yeah.
but that
No.
was something.
There was just more to the wizard, I'd say, than the interactions with them. 'Cause he's such a pathetic, petty little guy in the book. They're like, I think while Jeff Goldblum he's entertaining as the wizard, like, oh, I'd watch him as the wizard in a real Oz thing, you know. Um, but like it's just and like it's just not entertaining for this story because it does flip back and forth a lot. Like I was actually kind of shocked when Alpha was like, okay, you know what? I'll reconsider in our partnership with you guys, like because yeah,
I
it
was
just
like
shows
saying things are getting interesting.
it's a lack of moral fortitude. Is all I'll say.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think it would have been interesting if that was if if there was any indication that things were leading up to that. But she seems to flip on a dime, and then immediately, like when she sees the animal Auschwitz. By the way, why are you keeping those animals prisoners if you don't think they're like
Why
they're
are you
friggin'
so?
animals? Why don't you kill them? Like, I mean, if you, I'm not saying they should have, but I'm saying if he doesn't think they're worth anything, why don't you just kill them? No, you got to keep them prisoners so Alphaba can stumble upon this cage, and very easily, I might add.
Yeah, it's again. So like that's the thing where I'm wondering really like what's the like in the original like it is an ethnic cleansing. Like there's like no like oh we're not gonna have like Dr. Delmon is murder and everything like that. Yeah, it's darker, but it's more. It feels more pragmatic. You understand the stakes a lot
Consequential.
more. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I did. I did like that one interaction with Alphaba towards the end of the book when she is rescuing this cow. And this cow says, "Man, I'm gonna be tomorrow's roast for sure. And you know what? I hope you choke on my big cow ass." So I thought that was funny. I was like, essentially, that's what she says. Like, yeah, I hope you choke on it. Just walks away because she knows she's walking into her doom, and that it feels very hopeless in Oz. You know,
yeah,
it just feels like it's more consequential.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
And you just don't get that in the movie. Everything seems so light and airy and nothing, and it is a damn disappointment. Um, what I want to talk about the actual just there's something that struck me funny is that the look of the Tin Man actually looked pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like that
I
look a
was like,
lot.
I was
It's a
like,
good,
what the hell?
it's a
This
good
looks good.
design. Good design.
And I would have liked to see something like that in a straight adaptation of the Oz books, but no, no, none of that. And I did think that Fierro looked like shit. It it was so funny when Fierro showed up, and I was like, "What is this?" Like it looked like he was holding up his phone and he had a filter on his face or something.
Like it's so it's it's again it is of a cowardice, a creative cowardice. Like if if it would so like it would be so much more bold and actually kind of creative and funny if it was like a burlap sack of John Famili's face drawn on it like a doodle.
Yeah,
Like come on, just be fun with it. But no, it's got to be like this. It's like sexy scarecrow, but like
right.
it looks weird otherwise. It looks weird
Um,
that way.
well, I had told my brother about this, and him being a scarecrow. You know what he said? He says, "So is this like is his dick made of straw or like what's the what's the workaround here, man? There's got to be a drawback." Oh my god. It's just the more you think about it, the odder it gets. Um, Very much in line with the wizard, the whole less is more thing. You get the more I think about it, you get a better sense of his character just with that one scene with Elphaba in the book. I wish there was a little more, but it is what it is, and I think you get enough of an idea of who he is at that time. The same thing applies with Glinda and Elphaba's relationship because there was one scene in the book. It's the last time they ever see each other, where like Glinda is just walking past her, and then she just turns and screams Alphaba or Elfie or something. Just
Mhm.
screams her name, and Alphaba just keeps on walking. And it was honestly it was more heartbreaking than anything that drawn out song number between those two at the end of this
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah,
could ever draw out of me.
the only way that these two are friends is because Alphabet was made so much more dumb and so much more
Hmm.
lived in, and and had and much less of a character or personality or depth. You know,
Hmm. Uh, I just it baffles me that this was made into two movies because I keep thinking back to the first movie and I'm just thinking because honestly the way the big messy story is told, I keep thinking, how do you squeeze this into 3 hours? Because it seems like they added a lot, I guess, but
but
it
none of
feels
it
like
was important.
they added nothing.
It didn't add anything important. They made things longer, but
Hmm.
you need actual more stuff. Is the thing.
I don't. It's an odd feeling. I feel like I'm in a David Lynch movie. This movie seemed like it lasted forever in places, and it just went by in a flash in other places. Yes, that's because all the important shit went by so fast, and everything else just seemed to drag at a languid pace.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a perfect way to say it.
Hmm?
Yeah, perfect way to say it.
Yeah, it was it was nuts. I felt like I was losing my mind.
All right.
So
Yeah,
yeah, not good.
not good.
Basically, long and short of it, the movies are great. I mean, the movies are shit. Sorry, the movies are shit. The original movie is great, and Return to Oz is great, and the Wizard of Oz books are great, and Wicked is great. The books.
Yeah,
This is not.
this is not. I mean,
It's
it's
not
hard.
even good.
It's not good. The romances are not romantic. The friendships are not engaging or interesting. I struggle to see what people get out of it. I do struggle to see, unless it's like unless you're like the maybe really into shallow, superficial fluff, then yeah, so am I. When it's like something I'm interested in, sure. I'm not. I think we're all guilty of that in some way, but I mean, on its own, at its own, it is. I really just can't. I just don't understand it.
Hmm. Yeah, there's some fluff that I like. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna look down my nose at anybody who enjoys this stuff. But this was really not for me, especially when the source material is so great. I
Yeah,
think that's why this happens when when I'm going over adaptations of things that I really love, and it's happened here. I can't get into it at all because I know that the source material is waiting at home for me, and it's way better.
completely agree.
Hmm.
No, completely agree.
Yep.
All right. I don't know. I feel like this is not be the shortest one.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think this is. I think the shortest one because at this point that kid from The Simpsons is in the corner going, "Stop, stop!
It's not,
He's already
he's
dead."
already dead. But yeah, it also goes to show is how little there is in this. You know how little there is in this.
Because I
Um,
can't think of something. It's weird that this reminded me of the new Guillermo del Toro
Right.
Frankenstein
I was gonna say
movie.
that it oh let's let's make these things like so black and white and blunt to the point where everyone is dumb and uninteresting.
I I I've seen so many adaptations of Frankenstein, and isn't it weird that probably the most faithful is the Hallmark movie? That's
Probably.
nuts.
Uh,
Anyway, like and you know what? I was actually hyped for that movie, and I wish Guillermo del Toro got to make it like years ago because
back when it was good. Back
he
when
had
it
a
was good.
hard on about making it super faithful, and he was like, man, I want to maybe make it two movies because there's a lot of point of views that you want to get. And I'm like, oh dude, see, just goes to show is that you gotta give the directors the money when when they're at the top of their game.
Yeah. But yeah, no, definitely, and I don't know. I feel like again, I want to say, anyone's actually listening to this at any point in time, like I keep hearing like, oh, the books are terrible because they're so crass and they're so gross. Like, you know what? Yeah, if you can't get past that, I understand, but also they have character arcs, they have themes that get developed, and they actually care about what the narrative is saying. At the end of this, what did the narrative say really? Run
Right.
off with your rich, hot, hunky boyfriend. I mean,
Yeah.
and as we all
And
know,
and just
wicked
hope
franchise.
that the and just hope that the airhead we left in charge doesn't burn everything to the ground.
What a very weird straight message at the end of this entire thing.
Hmm.
It's very
Hmm.
very heterosexual movies.
You know what? When I on the reread, I noticed that a lot of the dirty stuff, like what people would call dirty, obscene, unpleasant stuff, actually did have a lot of relevance if you were paying attention. There was a scene in which, Lear, as a child in Chemico, was getting bullied by this one kid. I forget his name, but it was an annoying name, and I'm glad he died. And it was anyway. Um, he was like forcing him to show him his privates, and they were making fun of him and stuff. And when that kid dies, um, at some point, it's mentioned that he got an erection, and it was like, okay, so he's healing from his trauma. That's what that meant to me. That's what I took it to mean, because the bully in his life is gone, the abusive force in his life is gone, and it's a very small detail, and it seems crass and pointless, but it's not. And that's what I'm saying with a lot of the stuff in that. But also, it's not that bad. A lot of it's implied, and it's not like overly gratuitous. Whoever complains that this is it's too much is just being a little pearl clutchy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a couple of things like, yeah, if I can see maybe there's a little bit of the bounds of bad taste, but this core narrative is good, So I feel like if you're gonna be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, Wicked is so much better," then yeah, you back up why I think it's so much better, other than ew, gross,
yeah. It
Back it up
tap
with more.
dances. It
But,
tap dances on that line every now and then. There was one scene that I was like, oh, come on, where Elphaba was oiling herself up because that's how she cleans herself because she can't touch water. And she tells Firo, he's like, because he wants to talk about something serious. And she's like, yeah, why don't you clean my chest? And he's like, come on, I'm not that much of a man. She's like, yes, you are. I mean, that was a little funny, a little odd, but
all right.
it was the '90s.
Yeah, I know. I totally
Every
agree.
once in a while, you're reading that book, and I go, it was the '90s. Uh, oh, I did notice, and again, this is not in the musical at all, but there were like a lot of themes that I noticed on my second reread. Is themes of guilt, themes of forgiveness, the fear of a soul, the fear of an eternity, and Elphaba becoming a nun, and talk of saints and sinners and this and that and the nature of evil and all that. I'm like, holy crap. Maguire is Catholic as fuck. And I looked it up, and he was. He even wanted to be a nun when he was a child, because he thought nuns were the coolest shit ever. So Elphaba is sort of a self-insert character. He's like, oh yeah, I want to be a nun. I'll make her a nun when, in the hardest time of her life, she turns to being a nun. And so that's why that's in there. I thought that was pretty fun to notice the second reread.
Yeah. No, agreed. But yeah, I'm going through them again too. They're books they're compelling. I gotta say, they're full of richness and the substance that these movies lack. Again, if you want something that's just surface level icing, cake icing, then these are probably your speed. But I'm not gonna say, "Oh man, these are." I remember hearing back in when the first one came, like, "Oh, this is making like a big stance against fascism." I'm like, no, it's not, and this isn't either.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But for the original, hey man, Alphabet spends like 30% of the book being a freedom fighter, doing really insidious stuff in the name of freedom fighting, and like, hey,
Hmm.
that's more provocative. That would speak more to the current moment than anything else.
Right. Um, it's it's and and it's a very nuanced take of fascism. I think is how it sneaks in, how insidious it is in the book. Also, it's not like wholly black and white because progress is made in the school because now it's co-ed. But the reason it's co-ed is because
They kick all the
all
out.
the animal professors are gone.
Yeah, they kick them
So,
out. There's enough room now.
yeah, so it's nuanced. It's not wholly black and white. I mean, like it's still bad. Progress, small progress, is being made for because of a bad thing happening. But again, it's not black and white. It's not totally. Um, it's just more depth in everything.
Yeah, completely.
Elphaba's not a wholly good
You-
character.
And she has ambitions and dreams and
Hmm. And
motivation.
Glinda too. And at the beginning, she's very academically driven, and she has. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. By the way, something that pissed me off in the first movie is her changing her name was
Yeah,
very genuine
in the book,
in the
yeah,
book,
very
but it
genuine.
was played like a joke in the movie.
Yeah. Again, these are things that dumb down like these characters. They dumb them down. They get rid of their emotional impact and investment. Like you can, oh, it's a funny joke. That's funny. It might work for a Broadway musical where like you're meant to be like there's like an artifice and everything, but in like terms of like doing like a full movie that you're meant to take seriously, the fact that it doesn't take seriously less and less is so uninteresting, and it becomes like painful to watch. And like I can't believe you're expecting me to watch this for over 2 hours.
Hmm. Over 4 hours now.
Yeah, exactly.
God. Yeah, I was meaning to ask you because you've read the new novella Elfie.
Yes, it's so good.
And it sounds so. I was like, oh, good, more Nessa Rose. Can you tell that Nessa Rose is one of my darlings? Anyway,
It's so good. Yeah.
um, and I want more Nanny.
Yes.
Bickering with Frex Bar. That sounds great. And uh, I wanted to know you. Was Turtle Heart? Did Turtle Heart not have arms?
Uh, it's I've read the book a couple of times. I think he had arms, and
That's one of those things that kind of like it's
but
like the
but
Mandela effect.
but I think he had. I've read it a couple of times to make sure, like, am I missing that he has arms or not? But the new one makes it clear that even if he did have arms, it's a stereotype that quadlings don't have arms.
So I guess maybe his arms. I remember him being like when they first describe him, he sounded odd looking, and I was like, okay, maybe he has small arms or something. But I need to go back and reread the
Yeah,
description when
yeah.
Elphaba's mom first sees him because it's when I read the description, it's like I'm not getting this. It's just kind of throwing me off. I always have trouble reading descriptions of characters sometimes. So that's probably just a me problem. So that was a pretty interesting thing to hear about, and I'm like, wait, did he have arms? That seems like a pretty big thing to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
But is there anything else you want to talk about this? Because I cannot think of anything.
I cannot think of anything. Yeah, I think this is the shortest one we've done because there's just not much to talk about. I mean, like it's pretty surface level, and I got a pretty surface level analysis.
Out of it,
It's
yeah.
lame, tepid. All right.
You know what? Yeah. Anyway, I guess if that's it, yeah, let's shut down. This was these movies are a waste of time.
Yeah. And since it wasted our time, we have to waste your time just a little bit.
So, anyway, thank you so much for being here, man. It's really
uh,
enjoyable.
well, it was a
Just
lot of fun.
yeah, not these movies, but at least ripping into them a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, no, let me know what you think about the prequel novel. It's really good. I'm making my way through the sequel trilogy again. So fingers crossed. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna reread the first bit first, and I'm gonna go ahead and go on to Elfie.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like it's so shocking. And Elfie is like you get the idea of what makes this character like so full of life, and you don't get that from these movies. And these movies, so you know what? I'm glad these movies exist because they definitely spurred something. I do feel like now the original novel is more complete. You know,
Right.
so I know.
Yeah. From what I'm hearing about this is that you could stitch that into the original first novel, and it would read so perfectly
It would. It
because it.
really would.
Mhm. So I can't wait.
All right.
Gonna be
Well,
great.
yeah, thank you for joining me, and you know what? Thank you all for listening. Have a great time.
All right. Bye.